All right, let's take a look at another one here. Screen printing a batch of shirts requires 4 minutes per shirt, in addition to 27 minutes of initial setup time. If it takes 71 minutes to screen print a batch of shirts, how many shirts are in the batch? Okay, so we've got a couple things here. We're looking at a time, right? It takes 71 minutes to do this batch that we've got going on. And in this batch, it requires 4 minutes per shirt. That's going to be important, 4 minutes per shirt. And it also, we have to start off with, it just takes 27 minutes to set it up. Okay, and we're including that into that 71. Okay. So even before, I think I'm starting to form an idea of what's happening here. Let's get a new color. How about a purple? And the thing that we're trying to find is it's asking how many shirts. How many shirts? So let's let and I like to use the same letter as what we're doing. So it would be S, but S kind of looks like a number. It looks like 5. So I'm just gonna do let X. Let X be the number of shirts in this batch. So let X be the number of shirts. So what I see is we're getting a total. We've got all this time going on, and we want it to get a total. We want it to equal a total. We have the setup time, the setup, and we need to add on all these shirts, right? Every shirt takes 4 minutes. So it's like so these yeah, the shirts time, I guess we could call it. All right, so now we just need to make sense of what we got here. So the shirts time, I was kind of talking about that. It's 4 minutes for every shirt. And if you have a whole bunch of shirts, the easy way to calculate that is multiplication, right? If I've got 10 shirts, 4 minutes for every one of those shirts, I can multiply 4 times 10 to get 40 minutes. But in this case, we don't know how many shirts, so it'll be 4x, right? X is the number of shirts. Plus, that setup time was 27. And we know that equals the total, which is 71 minutes. And now we got ourselves an equation that we are able to solve. We can solve for x, which is the number of shirts. Let's take care of that addition. The inverse of that is subtraction. They cancel, and then we're left with, we still have 4x, so I'll drop that down. 71 minus 27 is 44, I believe. Pretty sure. And then that is 4 times x. The inverse of times or multiplication is division, dividing by that 4. And the reason we pick that is because inverses cancel. And we're left with x equals 44 divided by 4. That works out nicely. It's 11. And so that means 11 shirts, right? That's what x stood for here. 11 shirts in that batch. Takes 71 minutes. And that could be useful information for a factory like Land's End. Okay, a little bit of geometry now. So we're going to be talking about some area and perimeter and bringing up some old formulas that you might remember from the past. So a trapezoid has a height of 8 inches and a large base of 1 foot. If the area of the trapezoid is 76 inches squared, how long is the short base? So since this is a problem about a picture, I would, about a shape, I would draw a picture. So if you recall, trapezoid looks like this. You don't have to draw it to scale, but you should draw right things in the correct spot. So 1 foot is the large base, that's the bottom part here. And one thing about that, I noticed that all the other dimensions, it's important to note that all the other dimensions are in inches, 8 inches, 76 inches squared, and it's labeled like that because it's area. But this is 1 foot. So you might want to think, okay, let's write that in inches like everything else. Think about how much is 1 foot in inches, and that is 12. So that's not too bad. So, but I think it'd be, well, I know it'll be smart to use that dimension here. Okay, so 12 inches is the bottom base, the big base. The height comes right there. That's 8 inches. We don't know the short base. So up here, let's call it, well, I think it's officially called B1 in the formula, and I'll write out the formula here in a minute. So I'll just call it B1 here. And the area. So that's all the space inside. So the space inside, we know that's 76 inches squared. You can write that like this with a little power of 2 on the IN abbreviation of inches. Okay, so yeah, this one definitely helps if you remember the area of a trapezoid. So it's A equals, and if there's a couple different ways you could write it, but the way I remember having it is 1/2 times the height of the trapezoid times, in parentheses, base 1 plus base 2. So we write these little 1s and 2s. We call that subscript, a little below the b's there. And I don't think it really matters if you have B1 be the top or the bottom, but we're going to say that B1 is the top. So, okay, now actually we get to substitute a lot of things into this formula. And that's how we'll start with this problem. So A, we know is 76. That's the area. 1/2, well, that's just given to us in the formula, so it stays 1/2. The height, well, that's 8 inches. So put that in parentheses here. And then, B1, yeah, we don't, that's what we're looking for. And then the base 2 is 12. And so now we want to solve for B1 because that's what we're asking for. How long is the short base? That's what it asks right here. Okay. So actually, this is going to be a simplification type of problem where we have to simplify first before we can do any canceling. So there, and all that's going to happen on this side. So there's stuff inside the parentheses. We can't add those. On the outside, I do notice that we have, this is multiplication right here, 1/2 times 8. And when you're multiplying with a fraction like that, you can divide by the denominator. So 8 divided by 2, and then multiply by the numerator. So multiply it by 1. And that actually, that's not multiplying by 1, so is not going to change it. So it's 8 divided by 2 is 4, and multiply by 1 is still 4. We still have the parentheses here, though. And now we have options, because this could be a distributing where we distribute the 4 into the problem and go from there. Or since if we recognize that this is multiplication, we can divide by 4. And that's something we're allowed to do here as well. A mistake that you could do here is subtracting 12. That would be a mistake to do at this point. So either distribute or divide by 4. And let's go ahead and do the divide by 4 move. So if I divide by 4, and you have to do it on each side, that undoes the 4s right here, because you're multiplying and dividing 4. Those are inverses. Okay, so let's see. I'm going to continue this work up here. 76 divided by 4 actually equals 19. It works out nicely, believe it or not. And then we have B1 plus 12 in parentheses. Since that's all we've got now, the parentheses are not necessary. Everything else got canceled. And maybe you see what to do next. We will get that B1 alone by undoing the plus 12 by minusing 12, subtracting 12. All right, the 12s cancel there. And 19 minus 12 is 7. That's equal to B1. So that is the short base. It's 7 inches, right? So to label that, that'd be 7 inches for the label. All right, we've got another problem. This one's about perimeter, I believe. Yeah. So the length of a rectangle is 4 centimeters more than its width. Okay, that's going to be important. Or sorry, and I didn't read it correctly. The length of a rectangle is 4 centimeters more than twice its width. So it's 4 centimeters more than twice the width. Okay. And if the perimeter of the rectangle is 86 centimeters, find the dimensions of the rectangle. And the dimensions, when they say dimensions, that's the length and the width, right? L and W. Okay. So, okay. Do you guys remember the perimeter of a rectangle? So, because a rectangle's got two sides that are the same twice, so it's got two lengths plus two widths. And if you recall, the perimeter is the outside of a rectangle. Okay, and it technically doesn't matter which one you call the length and the width. I think I tend to do the length is the longer side and the width is the shorter side. But here they tell us that the length is, so the length is, that's like an equation there, is equals, L equals 4 centimeters more than twice the width. So 4 centimeters more, that's going to be 4 plus twice the width. And twice means multiply by 2. And you could write it like this, 4 plus 2 times W, because twice the width. Or you can flip those around if you want, put the 2W first and the 4 second, because remember, addition doesn't matter the flip. So that's what L is equal to. So actually what we get to do here is, here's L in the formula, and we can take this little equation, but just this part, what L is equal to, and replace this L, because they're equal, right? L is equal to this stuff I've circled in orange. Therefore, if two things are equal, you can replace them with each other. Okay. Also, we know what the perimeter is equal to. That's 86. So that's going to go in here. So we're going to plug 86 in for that P. We're going to plug in 4 plus 2W in for L. And then we'll have an equation that only has W's in it. And we'll be able to solve for W. Now, we do have to be careful plugging the 4 plus 2W in there. Since it's an addition that we're plugging in, we'll have to plug it in with parentheses. So that'll be important. Okay, so let's see. Let's do this over here. So the P becomes 86. 2 times, remember, this is parentheses, and 4 plus 2W. That's what we said L is equal to. And then we still have that other plus 2W. Okay, so this is definitely a multi-step equation here. There's some simplifying to be done on the right side. So let's go ahead and do that. I see with the parentheses there, we can distribute first. Distribute, so 2 and 2. Then we'll have 86 equals 2 times 4 is 8. And 2 times 2W is 4W. And just bring that other 2W down. Now on that right side, we can still simplify a little farther. Notice that there's two W terms, 4W, 2W. They're both positive, which is nice. So we combine those and we get 6W. Okay. And it is a two-step equation. If it bothers you having the 6W on the right side, you can always flip those around, the 6W and the 8. But we also can work from here. And the first move is subtraction, because subtracting 8 will undo that positive 8 there. So the 8's cancel there. And 86 minus 8, that's equal to 78. And that's equal to now 6W. That's multiplication, the 6W there. So multiplication gets undone by division. Cancel, and Let's see here. Oh, go off to the side. And I'm going to flip the equation, so I'll put a W on the left. W is equal to 6 goes into 78. 1, 18, 13 times. So W is equal to 13 centimeters. Okay, so that's the width. But it does ask us to find the dimensions, which is not just the width. We've got that done, but now also the length. And actually, we can use this old formula that we wrote over here, this length formula. And because now we know what W is, right? So we could just say that, hey, L is equal to 4 plus 2, but now W we know is 13. And this is something we can solve for. That'll be 4 plus 2 times 13 is 26, right? Because we multiply before we add, and then that would be 30. So the length is 30 centimeters. You can write the final answer, you know how they write dimensions, 13 centimeters and a big X by 30 centimeters. That's how they show dimensions. And the way you say it is 13 by 30 centimeters.